You're watching MAVFEATS episode 24. I'm gonna make a video for each anime this season. You're watching episode 24. Update. I skipped Business Fish and Yubisaki Kara no Honkai no Netsujo because the first one I could not find anywhere translated, and the second one seems to just literally be porn, and I can't show porn on YouTube, so we're skipping both of those. If you like porn, go check out Yubisaki. Okay, so I just finished watching episode 1 of Kochouki Wakaki Nobunaga. In English, that is Gorgeous Butterfly Young Nobunaga. This is a video about Oda Nobunaga, a well-known feudal lord who led as one of the 3 unifiers of Japan. The episode starts during the spring of 1560. This is when Oda Nobunaga was about 26 years old. Rallying his troops, he says to them, if they retreat, then advance. If they attack, then retreat. This battle will soon become known as the legendary Battle of Okehazama. The Battle of Okehazama is a legendary battle where Nobunaga's army of 3,000 men went to attack the army of Imagawa Yoshimoto, a feudal lord who had an army of 25,000 men. So Oda Nobunaga is going to attack this army of 25,000 men while he only has 3,000 men in his army. That's fucking insane because he wins. In fact, it's even more insane than you even think, okay? Because it was actually an expected 45,000 men. So he knowingly was going into this with 3,000 men going against 45,000 men. The reason why he thought it was 45,000 men is because, and it's also what the anime states, is that it's 45,000 men, is that Imagawa Yoshimoto himself boasted that he had 45,000 men, probably to make everybody around him fear him so that nobody would dare do what Nobunaga has dared to fucking do, okay? So they win. They won. You know what's funny? Because what actually happened was that Yoshimoto was basically, what he had understood to have happened was that there was just a fight between his own men, and so he went inside deciding to leave them to handle it themselves, to like figure it out during themselves. He was not aware that they were in the middle of being fucking attacked, and so he goes into his house and into his room and shit. Also, Nobunaga made sure to strike on a day where all of his men were drunk and, you know, partying and shit, because an army that big wouldn't ever have to worry about being invaded by anybody, because it would be plain stupid to try and invade an army of 45,000 men. And what happens is that 2 men show up in front of Yoshimoto, and how that ends is that one of those men chop his head off, and game over. Now Nobunaga has basically won, even though the anime shows them as 45,000 men and is also like showing like them in action, when really they were just like one of his guys went and cut his head off. Pretty fucking cool though. There's a really great video about Oda Nobunaga that the Legends of History made, and so I'll link his video. Check it out, even though I'm fucking surprised he didn't take the fucking title that I took. Sucker. Anyway, after the cut of Okehazama, we are brought back 15 years prior to when Nobunaga was only 11 years old. This is 6 years before his dad died in 1551 while he was 17 years old, basically. And let me say, this guy is fucking fabulous. Young Nobunaga was a fucking gorgeous fashion icon, okay? He was a babe, okay? He was a fucking babe. Anyway, so this show is Oda Nobunaga when he is 11 years old. Now, Nobunaga spent a lot of his time as a kid being quite a weirdo, and people did not want him to be a leader, and so, you know, whenever he was 17 years old, his dad died, and then after that, Hirate Masahide, who was his leader and is actually mentioned near the ending of this episode as his guardian, he kills himself right in front of Nobunaga. basically to just say that, hey, it's all in your hands now, which is, you know, maybe is a little pushing it, but you know, I mean, I understand the sentiment. You know, kill yourself in front of him, like, hey, you're next, it's your turn now, bro. Anyway, a bunch of people hated that idea, and so basically his uncle tried to at one point rally an entire one of his armies against him. He tried to like take over one building, and basically Nobunaga fucking cut him down and killed his ass for doing some shit like that, some slick shit. And then after that, about 3 years later, Nobunaga had to kill his own brother who tried to go against him with a 1,000-man army. That's deep, son. Who gives a shit about Japanese history though? Okay, the point of this episode and this show is to tell you what Nobunaga was like when he was different, when he was a kid, when he was known as a weirdo who was doing fuck shit like playing with other kids even though he was their fucking lord. And that exact sentiment is exactly what is described to us and displayed to us as we go through this episode, and we basically learn what some of the things that Nobunaga did, like help some kids who are orphaned and don't have any help them steal from people who are literally supplying his dad's workshop. Did I say workshop? I meant warehouse. They were just filling shit up into his dad's warehouse, and basically how that went down is that Nobunaga would be like, yo, go now, while they're like moving cargo like some guys are. And what they do is they would basically cause the people carrying the cargo to drop all their stuff, and then after they drop it, they'd be like, oh shit, fuck man. Like, for example, they dropped a bunch of chickens on the road, and these guys get distracted and they like crash, and like their cart gets flipped over and shit. And then they step out of the dark and they basically say, wow man, you look like you need some help. This needs to be repackaged. So our reward for helping you repackage, can we have this box? And it's just like some box for them to sell shit, or maybe food for them to eat, you know? I have to say though, dude, Nobunaga is a class A trap. Respect it. Respect the fucking greats! Why don't people wear shit like this now, huh? How come I never see anybody wearing classy shit half shirtless like this, huh? I blame the SJWs. I just want to see more trap tits, okay? I have no ulterior motive. Okay, so after that, what happens is that they are riding on horses going back home, I guess, and they are Nobunaga challenges his guardian friend to go on a race, and as they're racing, they see a lady, and she basically gets almost hit by them, I think, and their things. Basically, she falls over, and Nobunaga probably feels something in his pee-pee because he acts like he's falling in love or something, and they take her home and they help her get better and everything. And so, you know, while that was happening and Nobunaga was falling in love with her and shit, Katsuburo, basically, who is his guardian, says, hey, can we take her back, you know, to like help her get better? And I don't know, before guarding, it kind of seemed like Katsuburo was taking Nobunaga's shine, or taking away the spotlight from him, because he cared for her way faster instead of just staring at her. Anyway, we cut back to him at his house, and because those kids who he helped steal from his own father with, they gave him a gift, which was like a little locket that has like a woman's face on it, and he's staring at that locket thinking about the woman that, you know, that they took inside. And that's when basically his brother shows up, and he seems to be like the way cooler, cuter one who's just like sweet and shit. And he's in his room when he's not supposed to be, and he's supposed to listen to his brother, but he doesn't when he tells him to get out. And then he finds out about a secret room, and that's when Nobunaga makes him promise to never tell anybody about what he saw in this secret room. And he gives him like a musket and tells him to get the fuck out. And he gets out, and his mom sees him leaving, and she says, what are you doing over there? And that's when Nobunaga says, nope, nothing at all, right? And then his little brother says, yep, nothing at all, just a secret between us brothers. And then he's just like, nigga. And so then you get a scene of basically Kanjuro and Nobunaga lying down naked by a river, Which also got me thinking, okay? It got me thinking about the kind of effect that this kind of show has. As a dramatic recounting of things that happened in the past, it makes me think that everything is probably accurate, which leads me to conclusions like, I guess back then in feudal Japan, people would go and bathe by a river. And I guess that it was a social thing where they would lie down by the grass, by their clothes, and talk about girls as they air dried their bodies. Who knows, maybe only privileged people did this. I also have this problem with Vinland Saga's manga, even though I can acknowledge that the creator of that series is actually trying to make things as true as possible to what the Vikings actually did. The problem is that with this kind of show that I'm watching, this anime, I don't fucking know. Who knows, you know? Maybe they were just by a river because it was a hot day. Or maybe they just wanted to go swimming. It's a small point, but like, what am I actually supposed to do? Go and do like extensive research on how Oda Nobunaga took showers? Whatever. That's exactly what they were doing. They were just lying by the river, naked and talking about girls. And you learn a little bit more about how maybe Nobunaga does like this woman, as his attendant Ikeda or Katsuburo suspects. And I'm gonna call him Ikeda now because fuck remembering Katsuburo. Anyway, after that they hang out with some dude who looks weird and has no hair and has his eyes closed and seems to be wise or something, but also devious. I don't know. They get back home and then that's when the cat is out of the bag, as they come to a house full of like people who I guess are important, and they say to him, please tell us what the fuck is going on. He told us your little brother told on you, he snitched. Because they find that thing, the amulet that those kids handed him of that woman, because I guess he left it in his room. And that's when she tells him that they searched his room, and then they tell him that they found his secret room, and then that's when his little brother starts crying because he's just sitting there looking embarrassed, like, fuck man, they forced it out of me, I swear. And they connect that to the missing cargo that was apparently, there were some unloaded cargo, you know, as the numbers did not add up, as they say. So I don't know, maybe that guy didn't tell them that they could have it, because I mean, they're making it out to seem like they stole it, or maybe the people who gave it to him, that gave them that cargo, that box of stuff, just lied or didn't tell anybody. I don't know. Also, his mother seems to be the most important one spearheading this, as she's the main person, the prosecutor, if you will, who's like, so how do you explain your secret room then, motherfucker? So they're asking him where he got the amulet and shit, you know. He says he picked it up by a river and just lies like off the cuff, no issue. Quite expected of the young master, if you ask me, of the young warlord. That's when his older brother shows up. I think this guy is his half older brother, and apparently he is not the same brother that he kills a few years later, or 6 years from now. And his brother's like, why the fuck are you guys bothering him? Just leave him alone, he's doing his thing. It could have just been a room where he didn't even know about it. And he basically saves him and says, yo guys, let's get some food, man, fuck this. So, you know, somewhere between this is when you start to realize that mom is just, I don't know, evil or something, because oh fuck, I forgot. Oh no. Okay, so after his younger brother said it's just a secret between us brothers, what his mother says after that is, you are not to be making your little brother weird just like you are, basically. I'm paraphrasing, but what she actually said was, you are not to infect Kanjuro with strange ideas. So she's saying that he is literally infecting his little brother. That's cap. That also stands to characterize mom as being just evil, I guess. So after all that, basically, Nobunaga goes back to that group of kids who he was helping out and stuff, and he tells them that the jig is up, that they are onto him and activity must stop or cease. And then they're like, fuck, what are we gonna do? We don't have any way to live, you know? And so he's like, okay guys, I will let you do it one more time and I will help you guys out. And so as he's going to help him out and shit, you know, they say, hey, there's one tomorrow. This is the last time. So as they're walking away, Nobunaga is asked by Ikeda, why did you make a promise like that to them? Because he made them promise, right? And he said, this is the last time, but that's not important. Pay attention, Jesus Christ, keep up. What is important is that right as they are walking away, they get attacked by two guys with swords, and the guy is about to slice Nobunaga's head off, and then you cut to the kids the next day like, holy shit, where is he? Is he coming? When is he coming? And then the guy's like, oh, he's definitely coming, don't worry. And you get a flashback of when Nobunaga was younger, that guy ended up saving them because somebody was trying to kidnap Nobuyaga while he was younger, and he saved him from getting kidnapped and shit. And so after that flashback, what you see is Nobunaga waking up, and he is like, fuck, dude, whoa, what happened? Why are we here? What was going on? And they are like rushing out, hey, dude, Ikeda, go get horses. And that's when the guy who is bald with no skin color and has his eyes closed at all times says it's too late, the ship is already gone. And there were some kids who were arrested and they've been sent to the lord of the area, to which Nobunaga's like, fuck, that's my dad. And so they're going to his dad. So they get to his dad right when his dad is about to literally kill the kids. They're all just sitting tied up, and he says, hey, you got here just in time. I'm going to shoot these 3 rats that we found stealing from our cargo ship. Warehouse, not cargo ship, even though they are getting the materials from the cargo ship and bringing them to the warehouse. Anyway, while he aims the gun at the kids, he says, hey, you're acting like, you know, there's something wrong. But, you know, I mean, there's no way you have any connection to these kids, because if you did have connection to these kids, two lowly thieves as these kids are, that would make you the laughingstock of all of Japan. And you would have to commit seppuku, and you don't want to do that, do you? And so he's expecting, you know, him to just watch and let him shoot one of those kids, or maybe speak up, or maybe even jump in front of the bullet. But what Nobunaga does instead is he walks up and he puts his finger into the barrel of the musket, and he says, look, Dad, if you shoot, it will blow up, because muskets will blow up when the barrel is clogged. And the guy's like, is that true? And they're like, yes, that's true. One of the kids, the same guy who saved him all those years before, actually said, like, before he stood up and did that, he like came out on a limb for him and said, that's absolutely crazy. There's no way we were ever involved with this guy. They said, I've never seen him before in my life. Basically, they're like vowing for him and being like, hey man, he has nothing to do with us. And so that's when the strategic music starts playing, and Nobunaga starts saying, look man, you're gonna blow up, bitch, if you pull the trigger. And so his dad says, well, if that's true, then you also will be blown away. And then that's when Nobunaga says, it's better than companions I care about being killed before my eyes. And his dad says, oh, so you call them your companions, so you must take responsibility. Are you saying that you would split your belly open in place of these 3 people? And he says, they say that the rats are the first to abandon a ship that looks like it's about to sink. The rats sticking around. Is that not good evidence that Owari province is still in good shape? These guys may have indeed nibbled away at your storehouses, father, but if Lord Protector Oda himself sallies himself forth to exterminate rats, that will make him the butt of jokes all across Japan, which would in turn lead you to commit suicide by way of seppuku. Does that sound good to you? And he says, you got me there, and he laughs. And he gives him the gun because he says that his son knows more about muskets than he does. And he says that he leaves the crew of rats to Nobunaga. And he says, train them not to nibble at my storehouses. And then his father leaves and the episode ends. The day won. And then you get to see the ED, or actually I think it's the OP of this show, and it's pretty cool. It's nothing spectacular or anything. There's some fight scenes that look cool. Maybe this show isn't just gonna be a dramatic retelling of his young life. Maybe it's going to include him fighting in wars, because that seems to be mostly what the OP footage is. Regardless, this show is great, and I would recommend it, especially if you are a history goon. If you are a history nut, you will probably nut a whole lot. Actually, maybe not, because there are points where they misinformed us, like at the beginning where they said that Imagawa had 45,000 men when he indeed had 25,000. So if you're not a health nut but you want to be a health nut, then you should go and watch this show. I would watch it. I think it's great. I had a lot of fun watching this first episode, and I'm more interested to see what is there to come. Anyway, this video is going to be super fucking long, so I should wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate it greatly. MAVFEATS forever. See you next time.